Well, one thing's for sure. You picked the wrong Prince Charming.
Dad is dead. There is a dog.
You bought strawberries. Who do you think you are?
You buy homemade bread?
What are you, QAnon?
What makes him happy?
Not being in this movie?
Not being in this movie.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about your favorite movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them. I am Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Jason Bowers.
Oh, I think you cut out there, Kurt, but we heard the hellos, or we saw them. We saw them.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I said hello. Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello.
Hello.
Good.
Yes.
Yes. Well, she's back. Tracy Nelson.
There are several people this week that you could have said that about. Because Tracy's back in the movie. We've got a former Hallmark Channel star back in the news. I mean, heck, even revisiting a Vivica Fox movie, she's back.
Right.
But
Now,
this movie was so dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Now I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, someone picked the wrong acting coach for this movie.
So the same one they've had for all their other movies?
She was as a sidekick.
And I thought this was an older movie. No, this is from 2021.
Yeah. It was from May. Came out in May.
Yeah. And
How do we miss this?
I don't know. I was actually asking myself that too, because it really does sort of just scream everything we would want out of a stupid Hallmark movie. And what this actually, Lifetime movie rather, this actually proves my theory that you could take any Lifetime or Hallmark movie and use them in the other's universe with just enough tweaking to the script. Because this Prince shit, this is like Hallmark territory, not Lifetime.
Well, and that's what makes me think, I wonder if this is shade.
Shade or maybe Hallmark. Well, what's really interesting, so as I was watching this movie, what is it called again? The Wrong Prince Charming. As I'm watching it, my friend Brad was watching with me once again, and we were commenting on the attractiveness of the male lead, and he kind of snarked that, oh, I bet we have a lot of friends on social media in common, meaning like, oh, maybe he plays for our team. Looks him up, we do have friends, and then he showed me him. I was like, oh, I actually know who he is because he is a bartender at one of the gay bars.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I texted my friend to ask my friend that works with him, and said he's straight, but he's really, really nice.
I won't say which bar, but have I been to this bar
with
you?
I've been. Yes, we've been there together. We've talked about it on this podcast.
Okay, so I know where it is. All right.
I'm not sure you do.
Is he still working there?
Yeah, he does still work there. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But also, while looking him up, I don't know if you noticed what the credit that he had right before this movie. He was in a Hallmark movie called A Royal Christmas Engagement that came out just about 6 months before this one, and also is a prince named Edward.
Didn't we see a royal engagement?
Really?
Did we watch it?
We did not. I looked it up in my notes. We watched some other royal one, but not Royal Christmas Engagement. No.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Interesting. So maybe it was some kind of
and he is British.
referential thing.
I did IMDb that. He is British.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's putting on the American accent in this movie.
But he does have the British one for more of it than he does the American one. And when you say that, okay, the American one actually wasn't that good. The British one was way more convincing. That's why.
Well, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
We've got a lot.
This movie was layered.
I know, it is. Yeah. And at first, I was going to make fun of his British accent, and then I IMDb'd it, and I'm like, oh, wait, he is British.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, the American accent was like...
Yeah, but it was...
It was what, Kurt?
But this movie was still so dumb.
Oh, it was
Even though now we
very
look
dumb.
at it, it's very layered. The movie was dumb. The people in it were dumb. I mean, this lawyer woman was... what were these people thinking?
By Lifetime and Hallmark standards, it was especially dumb. Because there's dumb, but like they know it and they know it's crazy and they lean into it. Right. This one didn't really know it was dumb. Didn't even really know it was crazy.
Dumb.
No. Yeah.
And it bordered on an HR issue, which we'll get into.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. I would even say it bordered on one. It was a clear HR violation on Vivica's part.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody knew what they were doing in this movie. Nobody.
Because this is basically...
It was an insult to all professions represented.
This is basically like hoe yourself out for a $30 million deal.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into it because just yeah. But before we get into it, do we have any Blac Chyna news?
Doing a piece of China.
China.
I'm talking China.
The Blac Chyna Report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
All right, this is from rollingout.com. Never heard of that before.
What the hell is rollingout.com?
That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's rollingout.com. That's real. So get ready for some comedy because Rob Kardashian's domestic abuse case against Blac Chyna continues. Blac Chyna's uncontrollable temper may land her in trouble if Rob Kardashian has his way. Kardashian filed new court papers this week to support his domestic violence lawsuit against his former girlfriend and mother of his 4-year-old daughter, Dream Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's younger brother initially sued Blac Chyna in September 2017, alleging that she violently attacked him on December 14, 2016, inside a home they shared that belonged to his sister, Kylie Jenner. According to new documents obtained by the news outlet KTTV, Blac Chyna, whose real name is Angela Renee White, is quite a force to be reckoned with. China has never refuted the key evidence supporting Rob's claims, in particular the sworn statements of multiple third-party witnesses who each independently confirmed that China violently attacked Rob in 2016, pointed a gun at his head, threatened to kill him, ripped his shirt, beat him about the face and neck with her fists, and destroyed property inside the home they shared, the court document read. Rob Kardashian's lawyer also took aim at the model and reality TV star's defense, where she claimed she simply was being very outgoing. Her very outgoing, colorful, and joking self with Rob when she threatened to kill him and then physically attacked him. Pointing a gun at another person's head while threatening to kill him, followed by acts of strangulation and physical assault with a metal pole and fist, is not a joking matter, Kardashian's attorney stated in the court document. Blac Chyna previously filed a motion to dismiss Kardashian's case, but a judge denied the motion in September 2020. In May, Chyna's attorney filed a renewed motion for the case to be dismissed. A hearing on Chyna's renewed motion for dismissal of Kardashian's lawsuit is scheduled to be held on October 12th. Hey, that's when I got my second vaccine, too, October 12th. It'll be quite a day. Okay.
Yay.
Question. I need to clarify something, and you too. Now, when we were first listening to what Blac Chyna allegedly attacked him with, I thought it was a phone cord.
I was actually gonna comment on that too, because I feel like every time we visit this story about Blac Chyna, the list of allegations gets longer and more violent. Like I feel like the next time you do a story, it's gonna be like, and she slices his head off with a machete.
Yeah, I mean, because I could have sworn when we were talking about this last year, it was like an iPhone cord or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
iPhones don't have cords. Oh, when you plug them in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, when they said it was a metal pole was involved, do you think it was a stripper pole? Because didn't she strip at one point?
Yeah, could have been.
I'm not wrong about that.
No, she stripped. No, that's how she got her start.
But I mean, it could have been as simple as a selfie stick too.
Right.
Like we don't.
True.
know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could have been that.
True.
I don't know. So many. Once again, layers. It's just layer. That's the theme so far.
And Blac Chyna, if you want to come and discuss this with
Layers.
us and set the record straight, you are more than welcome on this show.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we are Team China. We are Team Blac
You
Chyna.
have to at this point.
And
Yes.
I feel a little let down.
Couldn't serve on the
I
jury.
didn't know what she's wearing, but my mood's about to change because now so take two. She's back. Do we have a Lori Loughlin report?
And now it's time for the Loughlin Report. Here's me, Jason Bowers. So this is kind of a big deal. Lori Loughlin is making a return to acting for the first time since the whole big college admissions scandal. Remember when that happened? She got fired from Hallmark. She got fired from Fuller House. So she's going to be reprising her role as Abigail on what was the Hallmark Channel series When Calls the Heart, the spin-off show When Hope Calls. So I guess they spun this show off while Lori was in jail, and the spin-off was on one of Hallmark's streaming channels. They've decided they don't want the show anymore, so they have sold the show to another network, which is GAC Family, which is the Great American Country Network Family. Yeah, some sort of country, like down home.
Is that something new?
I guess it was like one of those digital channels, and now they're trying to expand their footprint. So get this, they just hired or I think the guy that owns the channel and just bought them is the guy that used to be in charge at Hallmark Channel. So kind of shaped Hallmark Channel into what it's been. So he bought this show from Hallmark, and he's getting Lori Loughlin. And he is even going after Christmas programming this fall. And they're doing some special with Debbie Matenopoulos and Cameron Matheson, who both used to host Home and Family on Hallmark Channel.
So they're basically getting everybody who was fired so I guess this is like the alternative to the Zeus network.
I get, well, if Zeus is to Oxygen, what GAC Family is to Hallmark, then yes.
Yes, because Zeus is primarily people of color. Because I have a feeling there won't be many people of color on this channel. If it's the former guy,
yeah, I mean, basically all their hires have basically said, "Hey, everyone, it's all white. I mean, all right."
Oh, is that what they're doing?
And with this channel, if it's the former head of the network at Hallmark.
I was wondering because according to this article I have in front of me, it says that Loughlin was edited completely out of final episodes of that show.
Mm-hmm.
Hallmark was editing around.
No,
so, but now
Hallmark canceled.
But now she's moving on. Yeah, now she's moving on. So people who are like late canceled, if you're kind of like lately canceled, you can work on this new network, streaming network, I guess.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's a new network. So they need people.
Mm-hmm.
They need names. They need a draw.
And they need buzz. They need somebody to talk about that. Like, had you ever heard of this network before? No, but here we are talking about them.
Never.
Right. And, if she wants to get back into acting, for now, that's pretty much probably one of the very few opportunities she's getting at the moment. The
new network's not even mentioned. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying she's following all the career rehab rules.
Right.
Because she's
this article in the AV Club doesn't even mention the new network. Just says she's got a new spin-off series, When Hope Calls.
Yeah, to me, because she's not the star of the show. She's only doing like a 2-episode, like the season premiere.
Okay.
Wow.
It says she had to receive permission from a Boston federal judge to travel to Canada for a filming production project. That's what it is.
Okay.
Interesting. A comeback.
Yes.
And then her daughter is on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
That's what I meant by the career rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, she's like, okay, daughters, this is going to be a family project.
Yeah.
You go on Dancing with the Stars. You go on The Masked Singer. I'll go back and do this dinky little show, and we'll rehab our images, all of us. Massimo, make some shoes.
Is she coming up with this idea?
Coming up with what idea? The rehab?
Is she orchestrating all this?
Her and her agent, I'm
She's
sure.
got, publicist helping her with this stuff.
Yeah, her PR team.
Publicist is probably saying, "Here's what we need to do."
Right.
For sure.
This is how Nixon came back.
But also,
my prediction is she'll have some sort of magazine spread within the next few months.
Oh yeah. The thing with her though, and with Felicity Huffman as well, is that even though they were sort of made the poster children for this, terrible pattern that's been going on in college admissions since the beginning of time, even though they didn't hurt any one person directly in a way where it feels like there's real vindication in canceling them. It's not like a Matt Lauer with the door closing behind the woman or whatever, where like, okay, this is justice for her, or like somebody that Bill Cosby may have allegedly slipped pills to or something, and justice for her. It's like there's no one person that immediately directly lost out on a scholarship because Olivia Jade got in.
Right.
Yeah. Like somebody did, but we don't know. You're never going to know specifically.
Right, like the rehab. I feel like the road back to acceptance for her is a lot shorter than it is for Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, put it this way: if and when Bill Cosby ever comes back, I'm like, fuck you, Louis C.K. Fuck you too.
There's a rumor Cosby's going out on tour. And they're kicking the tires about that happening.
Well, it's funny that you.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, no, I've heard it, and like there was a comedy club in Minneapolis that was come back for a while. But like for Lori Loughlin or Felicity Huffman, I'm like, you've served your time. You've been punished enough. Come back.
Yep.
And I agree with you, Jason. Yeah, it was wrong, but they didn't like scar anyone for life.
Right.
As like the other two I mentioned did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus we got to.
Right. And another thing, they didn't threaten anybody's careers. The other two did.
Exactly.
Right.
So, so come on home, Lori. All is forgiven. And if you want to come on the podcast and talk about it,
we should reach out.
We'd love to have you.
We should just start doing their movies because nobody's going to like think to watch their movies. So maybe that's our in with GAC family.
And
oh yeah, we need to get into this. Yeah, the ground level.
Another thing, remember Lori Loughlin? I've been loyal to you because I was watching you when you were Jodie Travis on The Edge of Night. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend who was on The Edge of Night.
We don't even know what that is.
I have a friend who was on The Edge of Night who I'm still friends with, and she said that she was like a lovely young lady, and she's very nice, and she didn't have like diva attitude or anything. Sure. So I was like, oh, okay.
Kurt, the Edge of Night was a soap in the 70s and 80s on ABC. It was a half-hour soap.
Yes. So you know how every soap has their niche, like General Hospital is about a hospital and the mob, and it used to be about, people trying to freeze the world and shit. One Life to Live was about like the publishing world. All My Children was about Pine Valley Hospital, and it talked about like real life issues. And Edge of Night was about detectives.
Did you say General Hospital is about the mob?
The king of the mob lives in Port Charles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is like the Godfather?
Well, kind of. But the king of the mob, Sonny Corinthos, just returned to Port Charles because he's had amnesia for about a year. And he's like the head of the mob on the Eastern Seaboard. You know how I know the phrase, the Eastern Seaboard? General Hospital.
It is a thing, though. It is a real thing.
And, he just had a meeting with the 5 families.
Yeah. Really? That's what happens at General Hospital? I never knew that.
Yeah. The episode that I was on, I delivered a package to Carly, Sonny's wife. Are they? I don't know if they're still married, but Sonny's wife at the time.
Well, funny you should ask.
Oh, wow.
Since they thought that he was dead and needed to protect the mob because his wife Carly is running the mob now. So Carly is like a mob princess.
Oh.
So she married Sonny's best friend, Jason.
Jason Quartermain?
Well, yes.
Okay.
That's you, Jason. No, that's you.
You know he's a
Jason.
hitman now.
No, it was you.
No, Jason
It was
Quartermain.
you
He's
as
one of
the
the
delivery man.
He's
They
been
just- they
on
just
a
called your
character in
character
General
Jason.
Hospital for like close to 40 years.
Yes, he's a hitman now.
Is Luke
Laura is
still
the
on that
mayor
show?
of
On
Port
that show?
Charles. Luke isn't on there anymore. He left town with Tracy Quartermain.
No, Luke left. Not to be confused with Tracy
Right.
Nelson.
Les, I think we're on the wrong
And-
podcast today.
Well, I live in New
And
Jersey.
before we start talking about the movie, I gotta tell you, Days of Our Lives is like working on full cylinders. You know why?
Jackie.
Because Marlena is possessed by Satan.
Okay. Oh no, that's intense. If you're gonna be possessed, man, you get possessed
And
by
her eyes,
Satan.
like,
That's
yeah.
going all the way. You know, it could be like
Nope.
a random demon or something.
Satan.
It's
Because
Satan.
he was in this
Yeah, that's
old
intense.
man who grabbed Jack Hay's ass, and Jack Hay was like, "Are you grabbing my ass?" And then he jumped into Marlena because she was possessed back in the 90s.
I don't think Linda Blair was possessed by Satan. It was another demon that had possessed her. But to be possessed by
Well-
Satan, that's not good delegating. You know, Satan should get like another demon involved or something. I don't know. What do I know?
Well,
I'm not running a business.
Nope.
Satan should delegate
Terror-
more.
He should delegate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But no, he's terrorizing Salem. That's where they all live. Okay,
Okay.
let's talk about this movie.
The wrong Prince Charming.
Like I said, they should call this "You Picked the Wrong Acting Coach."
Well, one thing's for sure. You picked the wrong Prince Charming.
But where's the
And I
park,
do love-
park ranger?
Oh, I've got the park
I-
ranger right
That's
here.
not possible. This trail's been closed for 8 years. It's extremely dangerous.
That's the park ranger who was the acting coach on this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, I love how now, literally, when Vivica utters her line, it's like a close up now. It's like the lighting is very well done.
It's very laughing almost. Remember like laughing that they had that thing where they would say "suck it to me" and the camera would like zoom into their face and there'd be a spotlight and like go-go's dancing. They may as well
Right.
just do that.
That's the way they should do it.
Seriously, I like the lighting is extra fabulous, you know? So, it's night. We're in Beverly Hills. And we see a guy, and he's just watching TV, minding his own business. And some deranged woman goes walking in his house. And she did look deranged. And she's like, "Where is he?" And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And she's like, "He promised me he would transfer the money." And the guy once again is like, "Who the hell are you? What? And then she says, "I'll be back." And the guy's like trying to explain, "Look, I Airbnb'd my house. I wasn't here."
But why didn't he say that to begin with? Because he's acting like he's acting as if it makes no sense that she talked to another person in the house. He Airbnb'd it.
But in his defense, we find out she knows exactly who the person is.
Right.
So when she sees this guy,
What I
he's
thought
somebody who
was
she's never seen.
stunning in this moment is he then he steps closer to try and explain to this deranged person that broke into his house, like, "Hey, here's the real story. I Airbnb'd the house. Just like calm down." Versus like, I would still keep my distance because I don't know if she's armed. I don't know what she's capable of. And also, then he's like, "If you don't leave, I'm gonna have to call the police." Like, call them
Right.
now. There's a stranger in your house.
Not that Lifetime police.
Right.
They're not going to do much.
No, they're not. They're going to actually not only they're going to shame you for going to them for a crime.
Well, she says, go ahead and call them.
That's the thing in this movie. They not only were lazy, they kind of shamed them.
Yeah,
they always do.
It's like they don't want to work.
No. So then we see Vivica, and she has a new look. She has a businesswoman bob.
Yeah.
She's a realtor.
Yeah. I knew we were in trouble though, because the font for her real estate office looked like they let the intern pick it. It doesn't look like real actual design. It looks like just a swirly font. It says Davis Real Estate. It was tacky.
Yeah.
And did you notice that they didn't even have desks? They were just sitting at a table, and it looked like they were in a dining room or something.
Well, I think that I got confused too, because I think that was actually their home, because it cut to a scene where this main character, Anna, young lady who's a lawyer, she's sitting at that giant table. I think that was actually in her home.
So I have a theory that kind of combines these two thoughts. I think they filmed this entire movie using one location. It was absurd at some points where you would be in what is the main character's room, her room at her home, and then another scene where the prince is in a hotel and it looks just like her room, but with a different headboard on the bed. And the architecture of this home was very ornate Southwestern, very, very, very recognizable. And it was in every inch of this movie.
Yeah, it was confusing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason. I totally agree, because it all looked the same. Because
it blended with the office and the home, her home. It just blended. I thought they were in the same
her
place.
Office, her home, the hotel where they were trying to make the deal. When they would go to the restaurant, they'd be sitting outside of the restaurant. It was all at that same estate.
Right. Yep, I agree. And so Vivica is. So have we seen? Was it Hannah or Anna?
Anna.
So
she looked familiar. She looked familiar.
Yeah.
Jeez, we may have.
I can't place her, but we've seen her.
Maybe in a cheerleader movie or something.
Maybe.
Oh, that sounds right.
And she's a lawyer, and we find out from Vivica that the real estate office, because she is a realtor actually, or was it commercial real estate?
Commercial.
I was trying to figure that one out.
Commercial.
Okay. So Vivica, Bridget is her name, informs Anna that they have been contacted by the Principality of Devonshire. And they want the prince wants to develop he wanted to develop something, and Anna
the Beverly Ritz Hotel.
He's a prince.
Yeah.
Anna was like, he's a prince, and then Vivica's like, that's why they call it a principality.
Oh boy.
That's when I knew we were in trouble. So then they're at the Beverly Ritz Hotel. And
from the outside, from the front shot, the Ritz Hotel looked like almost like a roadside inn.
Yeah.
From certain angles, from the back, it looked pretty good because they had the outdoor restaurant. But from the front, I was like, that looks like the kind of place that they charge you 50 cents to go in and use the restroom.
Right.
And where they have that coffee, they have got coffee machines. Well, I don't know if it's that bad, but
right.
Get some coffee water.
So then we meet Heather, Anna's sassy friend,
who looks like Sideshow Bob.
Oh.
With a haircut.
Now, did you notice, because Anna was going after that, she was going to bed, did you notice that Anna had the lamp that was from A Christmas Story that was like the leg?
Oh, the leg? No,
It wasn't a leg.
It looked like that lamp, though.
It sort of looked like that, and it did have sort of a fringe style shade, but it was not the leg lamp from A Christmas Story. Although that would have been an amazing choice.
I thought it was for a second.
It looked like Heather was. It looked like she was reading cue cards.
Probably
someone was holding the scripts. Somebody did that. I was in like a movie, like this independent movie, and they didn't like give me the script ahead of time. So somebody was gonna. The person was supposed to hold the script in front of their face, and I was gonna like read the lines. I couldn't do it. I just thought it was so rude. So they held it. The guy held it on his chest. So I'm like looking down, doing the lines. Yeah, that movie never came out.
Wow. I went to a taping of a very later year episode of Roseanne, like probably the first year I moved out here when like Roseanne was still on from the first run. And I'm assuming she had been doing it a while and wasn't much of an actress anyway, and be the first person to tell you that. Roseanne had cue cards to do all her scenes. Yeah.
So she'd be like, "Dad, and she'd just be reading.
Yeah.
That's true. She wasn't much of an actress. I thought she was hilarious until she flipped her wig.
She could be both hilarious and a nut job. Like those can overlap.
Well, the problem was she was posting nutty things for some years, but nobody's paying any attention to her.
Nobody pays attention until they realize it's going to affect their pocketbook.
No, but then they revived the Roseanne show, and she was still writing these crazy things. I was like, that's not going to fly.
Right. So then we meet Prince Edward and his assistant Liam. And they're prepared to invest. It was $30 million, right?
No, they were investing.
$300
I had to watch
million.
this twice because I had to figure out what this business transaction was. They were investing $300 million, but for them to do that, Vivica's company had to put in $30 million in like an escrow account, and they wouldn't really explain how this worked. They're like, "Oh, it's a tax write-off," and Liam goes, "Yeah, kind of. Just give us the $30 million." You know, I don't know how that's a tax write-off. But I don't get it. I would say no to that deal.
My friend Brad, the one that I was watching this with, he went to law school, and literally his whole job is like, making contracts for employment and stuff like that. So he was getting so mad at all the sort of what the fuck legalese moments in this movie, and he was getting really fired up. And I finally had to like pause the movie and say, Brad, I appreciate that you're watching this, but you've got to let go of your belief in the legal system for a little bit. This is not real. It's all made up. It's a Lifetime movie. Calm down.
I love that Brad is all in.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's watching these movies.
Oh, he remembers that because when I met him, he remembered them.
He keeps coming back for more.
Yep. Glutton for punishment.
Oh, so the deranged woman. The deranged woman is like in the restaurant, like scowling at them.
Yeah.
And then, who's okay? So then, she is like, who said well? Oh, did Vivica say well?
She may have. At that point, she was already trying to warm up Anna to this prince. She's like, "Isn't he handsome?"
Right. And you better be nice to him.
Yeah, Vivica was laying the groundwork to essentially pimp out Anna to get this deal done.
Yes. And I love it when she told her, "You can have fun."
She did actually say that.
She's like, "You can have fun."
Do you remember a couple weeks ago the Lifetime cheerleader movie, The Wrong Cheer Captain? I think it was
Coach.
How they had all those weird close-ups throughout the movie. Like remember the assistant coach, she would be doing these speeches and it would just be like a really tight shot of her head. This movie had a lot of those same weird close-ups.
Maybe that's the thing.
Could be.
Yeah, there's a character Joe who's Sideshow Bob's boyfriend. He looked like he filmed a lot of his scenes on Zoom.
Maybe.
You know?
Joe was hot, by the way. Actually, all the guys in this movie were hot.
Oh, so then we see Heather, who Kirk calls Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, we could also call her Justin Guarini.
And they're in the bar. Yep. So it's after the meeting, they're in the bar, and then the deranged woman walks up to them and is like, "He's not what you think. He's not who you think he is."
That's me.
And then she gives like a whole monologue and then leaves her card.
Mm-hmm. Well, she claims that this prince stole $200,000 from her.
Yeah. And so then Vivica tells Anna in this next scene, "Go home and change, and I'm giving you permission to enjoy yourself." Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And
this is the HR problem.
Yes, this is HR issue number 1.
Yeah.
So then Anna goes to meet Prince Edward, and she starts giving him figures, and he's like, "Oh, we're not here to talk about work." And then she's like, this meeting should be more than business. And then she's like, her comeback is, "Well, I've never done business with a prince before."
He uses the word fly, like fly girl. Fly girl, a fly girl. You know?
He did use that phrase, yes.
Fly, super fly.
And then he orders some champagne. And they start drinking champagne. And Mia, the deranged girl, is once again scowling. Mia did a lot of scowling in this movie.
That was kind of all she did. And to be fair, she had reason to be angry.
Yeah. But then, this is the part that I was like, oh, they're really thinking out of the box this Lifetime. Because Mia goes to meet her sister, who's black. And we find out they're stepsisters. I don't think we've ever seen this in a... And they kept on saying, "We're stepsisters." And they went out of the way to say that. Mm-hmm. So she's meeting with her stepsister. Her stepsister is looking at her like I was looking at her, like, "You are deranged." And meanwhile, this should have been another clue that we were in trouble, because the prince was in the background lurking, but not in a hoodie, in a baseball cap.
No, he was wearing a hoodie. The hoodie may not have been up, but he had a hoodie because he wore it in another scene.
Because later we see a hoodie that was not only a hoodie, it was COVID safe.
Oh. That's right. We did have a hoodie with a mask at one point. Never, ever, ever explained.
Well, that's responsible.
COVID safe.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I wonder what the
stepsister. Also,
what's that?
Stepsister kind of. Well, I don't know. A stepsister is different than a sister. Like, so stepsister, there's some distance. There's some like built-in distance there. I think that kind of worked for this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the stepsister wasn't as in Mia's life because they didn't live together probably for part of their lives.
And then I have to agree with the stepsister, because the stepsister is basically saying, how could you be a total idiot and give someone who you didn't even know well $200,000? And my thought was, the lovin' must have been really good for her to fork over $200,000 to a guy that she just met.
Well, again, they do this whole thing with the escrow account where you're not, in their mind, they're not actually giving away their money. They're investing and see that they're going to get more money back.
But that old Belle Biv DeVoe song, "Never Trust a Big Butt and a Smile." Never trust a British accent and a smile. Well, and I know.
Are you trying to tell us something about your marriage, Les?
Are you the right person to give us that advice?
Thank you, Kurt.
Oh, my marriage is fine, but still, But the fact is, she basically forked over this money in from what I'm gathering from the sister, it was a very short time.
Mm-hmm. This prince
and then she got mad when her sister paid for the drinks. But then we find out that when she goes to pay for it, the bartender's like, "Oh, this has already been paid for," and the prince paid for their drinks. And then the prince is going and hitting on the stepsister, and he makes a joke that was just on the edge that I thought was funny. Because she's like, "Oh, Mia's my sister," and then she's like, "My stepsister," and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were identical twins." It was like the joke was just right on the edge.
It was right there. So close.
But then, he's pumping her for information, and she's giving him the information because, like I said, never trust a British accent and a smile. She's just giving him all the juice.
Well, I do know women who they have a weak spot for these accents.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Was he using the accent at this point, or was he speaking with an American accent?
Oh.
I think he may have been using the American accent.
Yeah, I bet he was, because it dawned on me just now that if you were using the British accent and hitting up the stepsister, she'd be a fucking moron if she didn't immediately say wait, my sister was swindled by a guy with a British accent. I probably shouldn't listen to you.
Well,
right. Well, but then did they have British? It sounded like they were accent experts, though. So did they? I wonder what.
I bet he turned on the American accent for this scene. I don't remember, but I bet he did.
Probably. And then, he really hits on this. He really lays it on thick, too.
Yeah, but it was all under the guise of, or that was to get information.
Right. And so then we see Anna. She's doing Google searches. And then, so then we see the Ritz Hotel, and then we see Liam, who's supposed to be the assistant, and the prince talking, and they're both American. And Liam's from New York, judging by the accent, or he made an attempt to be from New York. And Liam is like, because Edward was still using the British accent, and Liam's like, "Why are you still using that stupid accent?" And then Edward's like, "Because I like it, actually."
Because I like it. What accent is that?
Right. And then he was talking about how the champagne was gross.
Champagne is gross.
But then the next day, Anna comes into work, and we have HR violation number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the boss, Vivica is like, "So how was it? I want details." And when Anna said nothing happened, the boss was like, "Damn."
It was like,
make it happen.
It was like Vivica was horny by proxy.
She was.
Yes.
Yeah, she had a clitoral erection for this situation, and she had, she wanted all the juicy details. I don't want to go to work and have my employer asking me for juicy details.
I don't want to go to work and have anyone say the words clitoral erection.
I know, right?
I'll tell you what, I don't want to go to work.
So then, get this. Vivica tells her, I want this deal. You need to get this deal, and I don't care what you need to do to get it.
Yeah.
But
HR.
It's not clear to Vivica that didn't Vivica get the script and say, why am I dumb in this script? Like what I'm just going to give $30 million in this escrow account to these people we just met.
And not just
apparently,
dumb enough to give $30 million, but she's a commercial real estate person who's been in the business long enough that has built up her business. It's talked about how much she's built it up over the years, and suddenly now she doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand this business deal unless I'm missing something. I racked my brain on this.
It's basically a pyramid scheme.
Right. Like Lula Rich. Have you guys seen Lula Rich yet?
I haven't seen it, but I know what it is.
No. What's that? Is somebody getting ripped off? See, I wouldn't fall for any of
It's a documentary about a pyramid scheme.
That's still operating, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, great.
But it has to do with leggings, though.
But how is it still operating? People don't do like a tiny bit of research and see there's like a show about it?
People do not do a tiny bit of research. That's how they get sucked into these things. But also there are legal loopholes that allow these what are they called? Tiered marketing that allow these pyramid schemes to exist by skirting certain laws.
It's worth the watch. It's only 4 episodes as well.
Poor people. I could see it. I could see how somebody could get sucked into a Bernie. What was the guy's name? Who's a big pyramid scheme guy?
Oh, Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, Bernie Madoff.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it because he presents himself as it's an investment company, so people invest and they don't know it's a whole pyramid scheme. But this thing described in this movie is ridiculous.
Oh, so Anna, we find out Anna has never been overseas. And she didn't have a happy childhood either. And she said her dad owned a sub shop. And then Prince Edward asks, oh, he had a submarine? And she's like, no, sandwiches.
Yeah.
And she kept talking about him in past tense because he was not alive.
I see dead people.
Well, what happened was the guy was making meatball subs, and then the government, they closed the shop, eminent domain. They took it. They had to put like a highway through it or something like that. And then he died of a heart attack. She blames the heart attack on them closing the shop. What about all that red meat?
True. And she said a lawyer could have saved him, and that's why she's a lawyer.
Genetics. A lot of things contribute to this. Anyway, that's your medical update for today.
Well, the prince kisses her. That turns him on. The sound of the story of her father's death turns him on. So he kisses her.
Yeah, so much for dad.
She had a clitoral erection.
She did.
Right?
You never heard that before?
I've heard it. I just have never heard anyone actually say it.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
I know it. I know it's a thing. I know it's real.
I'm trying to.
I just hit a little bit about anatomy.
I'm trying to manifest that. So if I keep saying it.
So then Anna tells Sideshow Heather Guarini.
Sideshow Bob. Yeah. I had Sideshow Guarini. Damn.
That she kissed a prince, and Sideshow Heather Guarini is like, you kissed a prince? And so then Anna's like, well, let's go on a double date. And so they're at the double date, and yes, both of the guys were hot
and shirtless.
Well, the prince is shirtless when he's talking to her on the phone, agreeing to the double date.
Yeah. And Kurt, when we were messaging earlier today, Kurt's like, something along the lines of they're shirtless too much, and I was like, I disagree. Having seen one of these actors shirtless in person, I completely disagree.
It's unnecessary.
Nope.
Kurt,
you're wrong.
When they're fit, there's never too much. There are never too many shirtless scenes if they look good shirtless.
I agree.
Never.
In fact, we should go rewatch a scene right now.
What'd you say? Sorry about that.
I said we should go rewatch a scene right now.
Yes.
I think I've told this story before, but I was doing extra work, and there was a guy sitting at the table. So a bunch of women are sitting at the table too, and the guy had to change his shirt for the scene. So he changes his shirt as slowly as he can, and you can see like the guy was ripped. But not one. I just looked around. Not one woman at the table looked up at him. Nobody paid attention to him except me, I guess. I was like, well, show's over.
Now,
Yep.
For a split second, did you think that Liam and Edward had a little thing going for a split second?
No.
Well, I didn't know why Liam was there. Like, it seemed like Edward could have run this whole scheme himself.
Yeah, his character was sort of unnecessary. The trope of having the stepsister was sort of unnecessary.
Right.
But you need a buddy because he, just for the sake of a movie, you have to have somebody to be doing dialogue with. He can't be sitting there talking to himself. So,
and that's probably why he was there then.
Yeah,
for that purpose.
Right. Oh, so they're at dinner, and then Heather's like, "Do you really know Elton John? Did he wear sunglasses?"
This is where I think, because they were asking if he knew different celebrities. This is where I think they should have had some obscure celebrities. Like, have you met Gabe Kaplan? Really?
Right.
Really? You met Lonnie Anderson? What was she like?
So then they start talking about cars. Or, what's his name, John or Joe?
Joe's the hot boyfriend. Yeah, Joe.
It's Joe.
So Joe and Edward are talking about cars. And then all of a sudden, Heather Guarini, sideshow Heather Guarini, gets a weird look on her face. And you can tell she knows that something's up. Something's not right.
Yeah, but it's pretty lame.
It's lame, but it actually was a very good catch.
I guess, but there's no reason why he couldn't. Can we say what it is? It's that he's referring to miles instead of kilometers, and she said they've got the metric system over there.
Well, she's right.
She's right, but also it is and was by his character very easily explained away.
Right.
Yeah,
no, that's
a big leap to hear that and think, oh, he's an imposter.
She wasn't wrong, though.
No, I guess she was right. I guess so. There you go. She proved me wrong on that one.
So then deranged Mia shows up again, and he's like, "You again? Come on, crazy!" And then
I didn't understand, why didn't he just kill her off?
Well, eventually.
Well, but I mean, she's constantly showing up. He must see her as a threat. What takes so long to do that?
Right. Because then he's like, "Well, come up to my room." It's like, "You idiot."
She goes.
Don't you watch Lifetime? You're in the Lifetime family, don't you know?
Even Mia's dumb.
But she goes.
Well, we also learn his real name, Harry.
Right, with a British accent. Boom.
Well, she goes up to the room, and she thinks that she's going to get her money. Like he's got the money in a mattress or something like that. Fixes her a drink. What? Are you kidding?
And this is like, she's unbelievably dumb in the moment where he's fixing a drink because his back is turned to her. Of course, he is slipping something in that drink. Of course he is.
Right.
And then she sits down on the bed and she's like, "Well, you want to make out?" She didn't actually put it like that. She's like, "You want to join me on the bed?" Like she like resigned herself.
That's what I'm telling you. It must have been pretty good for her to like give up her money, and then even though he's blatantly ripped her off, like still want more.
Hey, he owes her something.
Man.
Right? And so then of course she like, drinks it and croaks. Well, at first I wasn't sure if she was gonna be dead.
Same.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't very violent.
No.
For a wrong movie, it was pretty lacking in violence.
Yes, I need blood and video cameras.
Definitely needed some video cameras. There was some chloroform.
Right.
Yeah, there's been a dearth of those cameras. The last couple Lifetime movies we saw, I don't think they had any hidden cameras.
And chloroform. We haven't seen that in a while.
Must be using them in a different production.
So
Maybe they
then
feel
we
it's not
see-
COVID safe to be putting a rag with just like right under someone's nose.
That's true. Like putting your hands in their face. Probably.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you could catch something.
Like legitimately, that because they have those like intimacy coordinators. Like if you're going to do a kiss or something like that, they have to like map it all out. Make sure they when you're doing a kiss right now, you have to have gotten a COVID test like the same day, coming back negative, and they have this like super hardcore like Listerine that they have to swish in their mouth for 2 solid minutes before they allow the kiss.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Now, is that for
germs?
to kill the germs? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Help somebody's breath also. That's good.
Well, yeah. There are added benefits for sure.
So Sideshow, Heather Graney, and Anna are horseback riding. And Sideshow's like, I don't trust him. And then she gives her reason why. Because of, the metric system. And then Anna later confronts Edward. And she calls him out. And he basically shows Anna his Wikipedia, where it shows that he went to college in the States.
Right. He was at Cornell.
Right. And then Liam and Edward are once again conspiring shirtless. Because that's how you should conspire.
Yeah, this is where things get a little suspicious. Because Liam's half naked. I don't know why. Did he just come out of the shower? What happened there? Is he hot?
He is hot.
Physically hot? No, I mean, is the temperature hot in the room and he's just...
Let's go with that. Yeah. Sure.
Right.
I think he's got a thyroid, like an overactive thyroid. He's really warm. So he has to take his shirt off. And
poor thing.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
So then he's like, we need to deal with Sideshow Heather Graney. She knows she's too suspicious.
Well, they don't say that. That's mean. That'd be funny if they did say that. They say, we got to take care of Sideshow Bob. Don't say that. That's mean. But let's kill her, though.
So Edward asks Anna out, and then Anna's like, well, I have plans with Heather. And he's like, just cancel your plans with Heather. Come out with me. And then and so at this point, they're just basically, the deal's going to happen. They're just waiting for the money to show up in the account. Because they probably hold it for a couple of days. Because of the amount.
Correct. That's what, it goes into an escrow account until they can access it.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, we see Heather. She's going to her car, and we see a person in a black hoodie and a COVID mask. They were COVID compliant.
It's in season.
A black COVID mask.
I'm stalking you, but I am concerned about germs right now.
Right?
Does this movie take place in a world like, years after COVID, but the people are still wearing the COVID clothes they have left over? No point in getting a new mask.
I would argue that's the one thing you should get a new one of.
Right.
Probably, but people in this movie are dumb. So
this is true.
Or trying to save money.
The COVID safe guy put a tracker on Sideshow's car.
Yeah.
And so, meanwhile, Mia's sister goes to the police. And the policeman was not happy that she was there. Because this meant that he was going to have to do a little work. And he was not happy with that. And then the kicker
break
is he's like, well, maybe she just doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah. I would imagine, like, in all honesty, though, if you are a detective and you've got someone coming to you saying, like, hey, I've got this grown adult who I haven't heard from in 12 hours, like, but, you know, they have to wait, I think, 48 hours before they report an adult as missing. So if you're coming by, hey, I haven't heard from her in 12 hours, they're just like, hey, maybe their phone is off, dumbass.
But I like the look that he gave her, too. Like, maybe she don't want to talk to you.
He wasn't wrong.
I know I don't.
And then he was like,
or he said she could be on a romantic rendezvous.
Right. But then he told her, he's like, well,
romantic rendezvous.
He's like, well, she's not a missing kid, so no one's going to care anyway.
She's not a runaway.
Right.
Really encouraging.
So then meanwhile, Edward and Anna are having drinks, and Edward invites Anna to come back to his country with him. But then Heather is in the office / house / other set, and she finds out something. And she calls, but then Anna ignores the call. And then Hoodie gets Heather, but Anna gives in. And so she's waking up next to the prince the next day and goes straight to straight to work in the clothes she wore last night.
Which
she didn't even go home.
Which makes so sense because she lives at her home. She works at her home.
Right,
and the restaurant is her home. It's all the same place. Yeah. Just go in the other room and change.
Right. And so then
anybody for going to work the next day in the same clothes because of a situation.
Well, Vivica
that kind of thing.
was concerned about Sideshow because she was like, where have you been, Anna? Sideshow Heather Graney is missing. And then she's like, where have you been? And then she's like, oh. So we had we had another human resources incident in her concern.
I think we can all agree that Vivica in this movie is problematic.
Yes.
Yes. I also think Vivica is also the head of human resources at that company.
Oh, for sure.
And then we have a detective come in. We have a detective come in, and it's Detective Tracy Nelson. I was like, Tracy, where have you been?
Very excited. Got a couple problems here with Tracy Nelson. First of all, she needs hair and makeup to do some work on her. Not hair particularly, because her hair was kind of like a beehive. Now I think
it's like COVID hair.
She shows up. Yeah, COVID hair. I think she might show up and say like, "I do my own hair. I'm my own hair people." Tracy, let these people do your hair, because they had the prince. They had his hair. Hair sprayed so hard there was like wind was going on and his hair wasn't moving at all. Mm-hmm. So they do some diligent work here. Let them take care of your hair.
Is it possible that Tracy was wearing a wig?
Could be,
because it looked a little poofier than her hair normally looks.
Yeah.
Well, they got to comb it out.
Now, do you think that Tracy shot
I don't know much
all
about
of her
women's
scenes?
Hair.
Do you think that she shot all of her scenes in one day?
Probably. Given that this movie really truly did feel like they filmed all at one location, they probably had a very tight schedule.
So
that's just cheap.
So
they probably didn't let her have lunch. She probably show up like after lunch was done.
right?
But that's why you bring in a
Probably.
pro like Tracy Nelson. She can just knock it out.
Right? So then we find out that Heather's door was wide open, and we find out that Vivica has been doing some gossiping because then Tracy tells Anna, well, I heard you didn't come home last night.
Yeah, she's getting slut shamed now.
Right. And it's like,
I don't think that's right.
I'm like, she's of age. She's a lawyer, so she's got to be what, like late 20s, early 30s?
Yeah, for God's sake.
And it's like, Vivica, you were the one that was encouraging her.
Was she slut shaming or was she slut cheering on?
Vivica was slut cheering on, but Tracy was slut shaming.
Well, yeah.
So then Tracy, after Tracy embarrasses her with, I hear you didn't come home last night, then Tracy's like, there's nothing I can do to help you.
By the way, Tracy's supposed to be a detective. Don't police detectives retire kind of early?
I don't
think so.
I don't think so.
Tracy's listen. Tracy's like, listen, I need my SAG insurance, so you let me get my hours in.
God bless her.
She's like, look, I need my SAG insurance. So you behave, Kirk.
I just remember cops would retire. Cops would retire at like 40 or something like that.
Well,
because a lot of times someone will retire as a cop and then they have a whole other career after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but these are lifetime police. They don't do any work.
I guess I have to let that go. All right. I'm just being the devil's advocate, and for some reason that it's like I'm possessed by Satan when Tracy Nelson hops on the screen.
Much like my friend getting all worked up over their horrible grasp of tax law. I think you're getting a little too caught up in the real working lives of detectives as it relates to Tracy Nelson.
Yeah, it's very specific niche that I get bothered by.
Yeah.
Okay. So confession. It was around this part because I get to the part where Anna goes to see the stepsister, and the stepsister's explaining how much of an idiot her stepsister is, and then she tells Anna that Edward's name, his real name was Harry Blaine, and then I went out to the car, and I had to finish watching this in the car. I wasn't driving. I was parked.
What?
I was parked, but I watched the end of this in my car, so I didn't take notes.
Why did you have to go to your car?
What? Yeah. What?
There was a lot going on. I'll tell you later.
All right. Well, this.
All right. Okay.
It got. I mean, the whole movie was
a British accent and a smile.
The whole movie was convoluted, but it got extra convoluted here because they never fully explained. But I think we sort of learn that the reason that Harry has been able to get away with this is because he looks just like the real Prince of Devonshire. So, in other words, like Anna isn't actually being swindled by the prince. She's being swindled by this other guy that just happens to look like him. But what didn't make sense to me is how had that not been a major news story if this guy was going around swindling people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, posing as actual royalty that people have allegedly heard of?
Right. And I feel cheated out of a split screen scene with the two twins meeting and possibly having a fist fight.
Ooh. See, if this were a Hallmark movie, the twins would meet.
Just kind of look similar.
Right.
It's like a Patty Duke situation. It's like they're not identical twins, but they kind of are.
But I love a good soap opera, good twin, evil twin fist fight.
It's like the movie Dave.
Right. So.
Oh yeah. Like he's looking enough.
Anna's in the know. So what happened?
Yeah, so Anna's in the know thanks to Mia's stepsister, who, like, she didn't want to give info, then she does. And so the sister now has access to Mia's phones. We hear about how Harry convinced Mia to invest money. So, and like, as I'm looking at all these news stories about like the real Prince of Devonshire, I'm like, Harry and Liam must be really good at like Google SEO writing if none of the stories about them being arrested or whatever are in the news.
Right.
Well, how about the stepsister called the phone company and she got a new phone. She got her sister's phone with all the information on it. Even Anna said, they let you do that? Oh yeah. I was a little surprised myself.
That's expert
That
snooping.
is expert snooping, Les. Yeah.
It is. It's good. That's good to know. By the way, when Anna checks her email, there's the email that her friend Sideshow Gordy sent, but the email below it is from Johnson's Carpet, and it says you can call it 818-555-2436. I still paused it.
Of course, Kurt.
Did you call and schedule a cleaning?
I'm going to call them and order some carpeting.
Okay.
Wall to wall.
That's good.
So then, is this the part?
I guess so.
Where the cops, once again, the Lifetime cops show up?
Not yet. So Anna runs in now that she's got this news, and she tells Vivica, cancel the transfer, just do it. And Vivica's like, what are you talking about? She's like, just do it. I'll explain after you cancel. Versus like, let me tell you now really quick, then cancel. So she cancels, tells Vivica what's up. Then Liam gets a notification that like the money's being transferred after all, and goes into meltdown mode.
Right. And they kind of keep him at bay. Like he's calling and stuff, and they're kind of just like,
oh, I don't know what happened. Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll call you back. Don't worry.
I love it when Vivica answered the phone. She's, Bridget Davis.
Anyway.
So then they call the cops.
Yeah, and that's when Tracy Nelson shows up again.
Right. And then, of course, this being a Lifetime movie, the Lifetime heroine is invited to go to her boss's house because I'd rather you not be alone, so come and spend the night at my house. And she says, no, a deranged woman is missing and may be dead. My friend Sideshow Heather Gorini might be dead, but I'm going to stay at home alone in my house. Even though there are fugitives out there.
She literally said, yeah, I just feel like being alone right now. I'm like, you're insane.
But I love it though. I'd rather be alone. It's like, excuse me. So then,
Bless you.
So then she's sleeping, right? She wakes up, and lo and behold, who shows up? Harry. And then Harry has a monologue, right? This is where it's like I would have gotten away from this if it wasn't for you damn kids monologue.
Kind of, yeah.
And then is this where they have the fight, her and Harry?
Yes. Get a little muddy at this point.
Yeah. She runs away. No, she runs. Don't give up. She runs away, and she starts calling 911, and then she locks herself in a room. And those doors are solid, so he can't get through that.
Right. Yeah. Right. But then
What happens after that?
Because she opens the door because they end up fighting.
Yeah, and she stabs him.
Right.
And I saw the stab coming. It was really obvious because not only did they show the butcher block of knives fairly prominently in a shot, when they cut back to the butcher block of knives, there was one much bigger knife that didn't match the other knives that was sticking out really far. It's like, oh, they're going to grab that one and stab somebody. And sure enough, she grabbed it right away.
Right.
Yeah, what does she usually use those knives for? What is she cutting? An ox?
Well, it is a restaurant too, along with an office, home.
It was also a knife factory.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
True. It's a butcher shop.
Yeah.
So then
I think around here, Joey stops by. Like Joey stops by for no real
Yeah.
reason. Like he could have just called. He just stops by
Because he's hot.
just to add confusion.
He's like, I just stopped by because I'm hot. So anyway, after she stabs him, she's talking to Vivica the next, Vivica, they're talking, and Vivica says, I guess you picked the wrong Prince Charming.
Well, one thing's for sure. You picked the wrong Prince Charming.
Exactly.
DNA matched up with these people who were involved in a heist in Vegas.
I have a
And
feeling,
yeah.
I have a feeling that we missed part of the final scene of this movie.
Oh, really?
The version of this movie, the final scene that we saw was very short, didn't even include Edward. It only had Liam in it, trying to swindle more people out of money. So I think it probably cut that off. But, basic Lifetime epilogue where, they cut to a new location and new people are getting screwed over.
And Liam's now Southern.
Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Southern accent. He's involved in another scam.
Yes.
Now, what did happen to the prince? The prince? He's still alive, right? But he's in jail.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that he's in jail
We
or
don't know.
dead. I feel like he's probably still alive, probably swindling someone somewhere. We don't find out. And we also don't find out what happened to the poor sap at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Yeah, well, he's probably Airbnb still.
It's like, all I did was Airbnb my
Tracy
house.
Nelson looks sad to me. She's got like a sad look on her face.
Well, she
shouldn't be sad.
She needs her SAG hours for her insurance.
We want to get her on the show also. So
Yes, Tracy, come.
I think we're nice to her.
Oh, we love Tracy Nelson here.
No,
I was very happy to see
support
her.
I like that she looks sad. I like that layer.
I was
too. I was very excited.
I was like, oh my God, Tracy. So
she's Jennifer from Square Pegs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we better enjoy the movies while we can, because our Christmas viewing is right around the corner.
Well, look, we had a couple winners last year from Lifetime, surprisingly. So I'm not dreading it this year like I was last year.
Because actually, I still love the fact that Lifetime out Hallmarked Hallmark.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
with the gay movie, which I love, the Fran Drescher one.
Mm-hmm.
Or President Fran Drescher.
Our president.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
I hope there isn't a strike.
Oh, that's right.
Could be.
Is there going to be a SAG strike too?
Well,
No, not SAG. But if IATSE strikes, that shuts down the entire industry anyway.
Yeah, you can't cross the line.
Oh, okay.
You can't scab.
Yes, that's true.
So,
I won't.
we shall see.
From Detective Chinatown 2.
Oh, do you get like 10 cents or something?
No, I got more than that. I got a decent amount of money. I told you that story before.
There you go.
Detective Chinatown 2. I show up.
No,
on
you
the set.
did it.
I said, show up the set. I'm going to be an extra. They made me a dancer. I danced. So then I got like a letter like sometime later, and they said, all right, so apparently there was a controversy about this, so they'd give me an upgrade. Like retroactively give me an upgrade. So they paid me, instead of being an extra, they paid me as if I were a dancer. So I got paid like $900 or something for being there just a morning. And then I got a residual. Like this year I got a decent check in them. It's one of the most successful movies of all time in China. So the movie's like made money. It's made like over $500 million.
So then that means that you could possibly get recognized in China.
I recently watched the scene. I'm in there for a second. So I don't think anybody can recognize me.
Well,
But it doesn't matter. I got these residual. I got a decent residual check this year for this movie. I was like, okay, sure.
well, if you want to recognize me, you can look at my website at lesskirkendallbarrett.com, or you can find me on Insta at Kirkendall. Jason.
Please rate and review us on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. We would love your 5-star reviews. It helps other people find us. We are all on Instagram at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
Oh, I'm at kurtfitzpatrick.com. It's Kurt, K-U-R-T. And you can watch my sketches I did probably like last year. And that's it.
And I'm jet lagged. So I'm gonna.
The Mercury retrograde lag on our show has been a little bit hard to keep a rhythm going today.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll fix it. Yeah. You'll fix it. Anyway, until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.